I feel
That's what
like
Stan Lee
that's
told me to do.
did he really? Oh yeah,
Yes,
you
when I
you
met
met
Stan Lee,
Stanley,
and
right?
yep, I met Stan Lee in 2013. I had issue one of Sartana,
Okay.
and it was my first comic ever, and I was super proud of it. And when I, was at New York Comic Con, he happened to be signing. That was during that era where they were like really pressing him out there at the conventions to, get
Yeah.
your autographs, get your memorabilia, and he was still, very lucid with it and
Yeah.
stuff. And I just, and I only had like seconds with the guy
Yeah.
because there was a long, long line. And, as fast and as quickly as I could get it out of my mouth, I asked him, I was like, I'm an indie comic creator. I have a spaghetti Western comic book. It's my first comic book. Put it out. What would you recommend for me to do? Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Thank you, sir. And he goes, son, just keep doing it.
That's
And like it,
awesome.
it hit me like an arrow to my
Oh,
like
it's got to
head.
like
You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Like you got some of the magic from him. Like it like you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like that was Stanley's mutant power. Like it just to
Yes.
inspire, you know?
Oh
That's
yeah,
great.
that
Like
that that literally lit a fire, dude. Like that
oh,
was
I
like one of my,
believe it. Like cuz like I've
yeah.
had,
I feel like I
run-ins
was
with
blessed
some
by the Pope.
creators, but like that's like next level. Like I've never got to meet like a legend like that and like talk like got a picture with Stan Lee with John, but it was like the typical convention, like you run in, you can't talk to him, take the picture and you leave. And
Yeah,
like it was one of those situations. So I have a picture with Stan Lee, but I never had the conversation like you did, which I
yeah.
wish I would find that preferable.
Right, right, right.
The
Yeah,
only
but
one
it
I
wasn't it
go
wasn't
ahead.
even a full like I wish I could have like taken hours with the guy, just
Right.
asking him a million things. And and maybe in the course of 5 seconds I got the most direct, poignant answer, what I was looking for. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? What I
you
didn't even
needed
know I
that.
was looking for, what I needed from him, he gave to me verbally in just a few
Yeah,
words.
that's great. And the only closest time I ever got with something like that was actually Kevin Smith. Like when I
Oh,
was,
really?
yeah, when I was still in New Jersey from the Kubert school, I found out about Red Banks and where Kevin Smith was from, and it was about an hour and a half drive from where I was living in New Jersey, and they had just opened up the secret stash store. Like this was
Okay.
after Chasing Amy came out. So this was about a year after I
Okay.
saw Mallrats and all that. So I was well
Yeah.
into Smith. I was watching those movies like crazy, and Chasing Amy came out and I love that movie too. And like I was like, you know what? I want to go down there. Like, so I in my spare time at the Kubert school, I started drawing. Kevin Smith had started doing comics at that
Yep.
time. Remember he put Ani Press on the map with the Clerks comic and all that.
Yep.
So um
Yep.
and in the
And he did
Chasing Amy
he did
movie,
Green Arrow.
yeah, yep, in Green Arrow. And the Chasing a movie, he had this Jay and Silent Bob as Blunt Man and Chronic. So
Yep.
I sat down and I wrote and drew a 5-page comic story of my own of like Blunt Man and Chronic. Like I made it the best I could possibly make it, used kind of his humor and things like that,
Yeah, yeah.
And
You played in his sandbox a little bit.
yeah, and I was like, I don't know what I was thinking about. I don't know if it was like I was, in the back of my head, I was like, I'm gonna be hired by Kevin Smith to do stuff, like, but it was more like it was kind of like it ended up being more of a fan thing. But I went down there, I drove down the Red Banks and I went to the Jay and Silent Bob's secret stash. And I wasn't expecting much. I was like, oh, let me see who's working. Maybe I could pass it on to Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
And Jay was actually working at the store.
Oh, that's
It,
wild.
it was wild. And I got a picture with him. And then I gave him a copy of it. He's like, this is awesome. He loved it. And I go, is there any way I could get this to Kevin Smith? And he's like, yeah, sure. Just go down the street. He's at his office. I'm like, my mind was
You're like,
blown.
what?
Yeah, I was like, what? So I walked down the street, this half a block. I go right in the door. There he was. He was on the phone with somebody from like Miramax or something. And I was just sitting there waiting for him to get off the phone. And like so surreal, dude. Like I looked over, there's like Scott Mosier is in the other room, and like all the people you see in Clerks, like just side characters, were all working there. Like they were. I was like, oh, I recognize her, I recognize him. Like it was just
Yeah, yeah.
wild. And then Kevin Smith had got off the phone. I handed him the book, and or the 5-page thing, and he paged through it, and we talked movies for about 15 minutes. And yeah, it was surreal, dude. I left and I was like on cloud nine. I thought it was so cool, you know. I don't
That's
know if he ever
awesome.
kept it. I don't know what he did with it, but I have a copy of it somewhere. I'll have to show it to you sometime, you know.
Oh, I'd love to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was happy for me to put a copy of Surrounded by Death in the hands of both Jay and Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
But also in hindsight, I was like a little cringy. I'm like, oh, I kind of felt like that guy
A
that was
little
just
bit.
like, oh, I love your work here. Check out some of mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I think that comes with age. The longer you do it, like, because like I would not do that now. Like it's
yeah,
different.
right,
Like if I saw Kevin Smith, I would just say hi to him, and
right,
I wouldn't even think about like handing him like something that I just drew for him, basically. You know,
right,
I would say, "Here's
exactly,
my book. You know, check it out," or something. You
right,
know, but yeah, no, it's kind of funny the stuff with age. You know, I guess as you're
right.
in the
Well,
industry more.
the longer you're in it, the more you understand it. It's all perspective, right?
Absolutely. And I think like so movies help me find my way back to comics, where it sounds like with you started in film and then found comics, you know, like so.
Yeah, so where I was, making films and things like that. One of the things that led me to making Sartana was that I wanted to do I wanted to film a spaghetti western, but I'm in Massachusetts here, just the same as you are, and Massachusetts doesn't really have a lot of locale that scream like Old West.
No,
So
no.
unless I was really going to fly out to somewhere remote and try to do this story, I was like, well, let me, kind of take a very obscure character from an old series of movies and play in that sandbox and kind of write the story out. And I did that. And then as I was going to these Comic Cons and these creator connection panels at conventions, I met an artist, Joe Arnold. He's out of Colorado. He
Okay.
actually worked with Mike Barron on the Thin Blue Line comic book, which was kind of very popular and very controversial.
Yeah.
Joe's an awesome artist, awesome
I
artist,
think
and
I saw
he,
that like cuz it was in wasn't that was kind of like a yeah, it was I remember it was like a big deal like, you know, people
yeah,
didn't
it was
like it cuz it was cops and things like that, right? Something like that.
right, yeah. So it was, it was at a time where the Black Lives Matter was at its loudest,
Yeah.
and some cops were getting a bad rap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying the ones from, the ones from that did something wrong were getting a bad rap. I'm just saying that in general, there was just the general mentality
Right. Yeah.
against
I
police
know what you're saying.
officers.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So it was tough, and I think that's what kind of catapulted it to becoming a controversial book. But Joe does great work, and I just as a tangent, just to circle back around, I met Joe in San Diego back in 2011,
Oh wow.
2011, I think it was, at one of
Was
those
it like
creator
one of those
connection panels.
creator things, like
Yep,
creator functions?
there's a really really great program out of San Diego during San Diego Comic Con. It's called the Toucan Learning Systems, and it's run by two great guys, Doug and Corey, and they basically do like a speed dating where they take artists and writers, they put them across from one another, and they have 5 minutes to basically pitch a concept,
Okay.
and you just go around the room. So you can meet like 10 to 15 people in like the 2 or 3 hours for this panel in the time that you're doing like these pitches and looking through people's portfolios. And that's where I met Joe, and he was really really, he had some Western pages already in his portfolio. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this kind of reminds me of the stuff that I want to work on. So we talked about it a little bit, and we came to the agreement, and we finally settled, and I made Sartana. And
That's
I was lucky
awesome.
enough because he was working with a publisher at the time, CCP Comics. And so like right out the gate, I was published under a publisher.